Hey, PreCalc. We are looking at a video on the sometime after Tuesday's class. So I won't have you again till Monday. So it could be Tuesday evening. I doubt if it's Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday evening, but you've got Saturday and Sunday evening to view this video. So we have something to do on Monday. So let's go ahead and look at what we're up to today. I want you to go back to your trig IDs, and I might have said to do this in class, so you can fast forward this part if I did. I hope I said it in class today, but I'm going to go ahead and reiterate. We had sine squared of theta, cosine squared of theta equals 1. I want to indicate that that comes in two other forms, and that is just a rearrangement of those algebraically. So if I wanted to put sine squared by itself, I can move cosine to the other side where it becomes negative. So that is the same trig ID, except in a different form. And then there's a third form. We can have cosine by itself and put the sine on the other side, and algebraically they're equivalent, but they show up in different forms, so I want you to be able to pick them out. So I want them all three listed somewhere near the first one. Then you can put it in the margin, or maybe you have room underneath or alongside in some way. 1 plus tangent theta is secant. And you can rearrange that. The 1 can be by itself by moving the tangent. And we can have the tangent by itself by moving the 1. So do you see algebraically, those are all the same. So go back to your trig ID list in your formula sheet area, and go ahead and make sure all three forms are close together, smush them on there somehow. And number 20, 1 plus cotangent squared. You were asked to finish this one at home. Hopefully we established in class today that it was cosecant squared. And I can get the 1 by itself by moving the cotangent over where it becomes negative. And we can get the cotangent by itself where the 1 comes over and is negative. So please have all three forms down for each one, and it will help you to do these trig IDs. We're going to simplify, and when we simplify an expression, we make it into a simpler expression. It's not as complex. So let's see if we can simplify a couple. There are some strategies that we'll always use when we simplify these. And I'll put the strategies in a box. This will be our strategy box. So our strategies for simplification. So let's look at, we're going to change all terms to sine and cosine. So if you have a term in there that's secant, you want to change it and have cosine in it. So you would change secant to 1 over cosine. It's the reciprocal function. So every term, make it in terms of sine or cosine. The second strategy is to substitution using trig IDs. That's a big one. And that's why we actually learn these. So it's a big one. Number 3 is factoring. Sometimes causes things to cancel out and simplify. And number 4 is adding like terms, or let's say giving the same denominator, and adding. So we'll practice all of these kinds of strategies within our simplifications. I'll do 4 examples. Number 1, let's say we had secant x cosine x. And the command is simplify, so it's sort of a vague command, but it means make it simpler. So we're going to do that by looking at strategy number 1, change all the terms to sine and cosine. How can I express secant in terms of sine or cosine? 1 over cosine is the same as secant. And so cosine is already cosine, so look at this. We get cosine x in the numerator and cosine x in the denominator, so that equals 1. So cosine x over cosine x equals 1. I would say that we simplified that. All right, let me show you another one. Tangent x cosecant x. Try it while I'm getting it up. Tangent x cosecant x. Can use strategy number 1 to change those terms to sine and cosine in order to simplify. Tangent is sine over cosine, we established that, and cosecant is 1 over sine. I can see 1 sine x in the numerator and 1 sine x in the denominator, so they become a big fat 1, so it leaves 1 over cosine x. But now I'm going to go backwards on my strategy and get rid of the cosine because there's a fraction line here I want to get rid of. And so I can rewrite 1 over cosine with another trig function, no fraction line, and that is secant x. So you say, how do I know to stop here or go here? You want to get rid of the fraction lines, but in between you want to use strategy number 1. But it doesn't mean that there'll be secant, sine, and cosine in your answer. So you go back to the simpler form in the last step. So the answer to that is secant x. All right, we'll do a third. And if I'm going too fast, stop the video and get it all down. 1 minus cosine squared x times cosecant x. Alright, so this one, if I change everything to sine and cosine, I have this already in cosine, and secant can be 1 over sine. Cosecant can be 1 over sine. But what do I do with the 1 minus cosine? Now I'm going to use strategy number 2, substitution. So I look over here, can I find 1 minus cosine anywhere on this board? Right there. 1 minus cosine is the same as sine squared. So I'm going to substitute. So now I have sine x squared on the top and sine on the bottom. So this sine will cross out one of these signs and leave just a sine x. That is a simple form. The simplest as it'll get. Alright, fourth and last one. And we've done some of these today in class, so it's just seeing more of them. Number 4 is simplify sine x plus cotangent x cosine x. Alright, work ahead of me and go ahead and do strategy number 1. So you want to change everything that's not already in sine and cosine into sine and cosine. So sine x is not needing to be changed. Cotangent is cosine over sine. And then cosine is just cosine. However, nothing crossed out that time. So I have a cosine times a cosine, which is a cosine squared. So now I'm going to jump to strategy number 4 and give these the same denominator. So there's a sine x here and an understood 1 here. So I want to give this the like denominator so I can add the terms. They both need to have it needs to have a sine x in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply the first term only by sine x over sine x, which is nothing but a 1, so it won't change anything, just the form. Sine squared on the top, sine x on the bottom. Now that they have the same denominator, I can add them. You add the tops, add in the numerator, and have the common denominator in the bottom. So sine squared x plus cosine squared x is 1. Should we stop there? If we can get rid of that fraction line, we want to. So the inverse, so the reciprocal of sine x is cosecant. All right. You don't get a whole lot out of watching me do these until you get a chance to do them on your own. So I promise you that opportunity, but it will be a while. So keep these things up your sleeve, under your hat, and in your socks. Bye for now.